There's a subtle power in stillness, an unspoken strength in solitude. A single Sigma male doesn't shout and he doesn't demand attention, yet he holds a presence that quietly resonates. Women, attuned to nuance, often sense something compelling, something both magnetic and distant. Not all Sigma men recognize this early, but it's there all the same. The truth is, we don't often speak of what isn't said. We don't speak of quiet confidence, observant eyes that notice what most overlook, or a calm composure that doesn't need props or assertions. But perhaps we should, because in that calm, women sometimes feel a quiet worry, not out of insecurity, but out of respect for something rare and enigmatic. It isn't about fear in the usual sense. There are no cliches of jealousy or control. This is a softer, deeper kind of unease. Maybe they worry. Are they too self-sufficient? Will they ever let someone in? Is the very independence that draws them in, the thing that fascinates, also the thing that distances? It's in these delicate questions that their silent reverence lives. This video isn't about red flags or warning signals. It's about appreciating layers. Let's unravel gently together what women might whisper to themselves when they notice a Sigma male whose quiet self-possession both fascinates and quietly unbalances the usual rhythm of connection. No drama, no urgency, just awareness. Let's begin. Number 1, unshakable self-reliance. Softly, women observe that Sigma males often navigate life alone with quiet competence. This observation isn't just about surface-level independence. It's about the way these men carry themselves with an air of self-sufficiency that requires little validation from the outside world. In a society where many people are conditioned to constantly seek approval, this detachment stands out. Women, in particular, may find themselves wondering where they fit into the life of such a man. There's a subtle worry, will I ever be needed? Not in the sense of providing something he cannot live without, but rather in being a presence that enhances his life rather than filling a void. For a Sigma male, love and connection are never about necessity. They are about value, resonance, and shared depth. This sense of quiet self-reliance creates what feels like a gentle barrier, not meant to push others away, but to protect the freedom he has worked hard to cultivate. Psychology often shows us that people who are highly self-sufficient tend to score higher in independence and lower in dependency needs, meaning they thrive without leaning heavily on others for identity or happiness. The Sigma male embodies this perfectly. He is not cold or detached from emotion. Instead, he has mastered the art of standing alone without crumbling under the weight of solitude. This calm confidence is magnetic, though at times it can also be intimidating. For women, this paradox is intriguing. On one hand, his independence sparks admiration. It suggests stability, resilience, and a man who knows who he is. On the other hand, it can stir questions about intimacy. If he doesn't need anyone, will he ever truly let someone in? This is where the Sigma male's unique nature comes into focus. He doesn't seek relationships to patch wounds or ease loneliness. Instead, when he does choose to open his world to someone, it is deliberate, meaningful, and deeply intentional. He values presence over performance, authenticity over obligation. For the right woman, being with a Sigma male means understanding that her worth isn't measured by how much she can rescue or complete him, but by how her presence amplifies the already solid foundation he stands on. It's a subtle, profound shift, one where love is not a lifeline, but a shared elevation. Number 2, reserved emotional distance. A Sigma's emotions are private, often understated. Unlike more expressive personalities who wear their hearts on their sleeves, the Sigma operates with a quiet restraint. His silence isn't a wall of indifference, but rather a doorway into deep introspection. Every pause, every moment of stillness is usually filled with analysis, reflection, or quiet observation. This tendency can make him appear distant, even cold, when in reality he is often processing thoughts and feelings with great intensity beneath the surface. Psychology has long noted that some individuals lean toward an inward emotional style, meaning they feel deeply but express sparingly. This doesn't mean the Sigma lacks emotion, quite the opposite. His emotional depth is often vast, but it is carefully guarded, shared only when trust has been established. That guarded silence, however, carries an intriguing paradox. To those around him, particularly in relationships, it can spark a subtle question. Am I reaching him? It isn't necessarily born out of insecurity, but from a natural human yearning to connect, to feel seen and understood. This is where the Sigma's unique communication style challenges those close to him. Unlike more conventional men who may rely on constant reassurance or expressive gestures, the Sigma demonstrates care in quieter ways, through consistency, presence, and loyalty. History and literature are full of figures who embody this archetype, from Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, who valued measured thought over impulsive reaction, to literary characters like Mr. Darcy in, whose reserved nature masked a profoundly loyal heart. In modern terms, the Sigma's silence can be misunderstood in a world that often equates love with loud declarations and constant digital affirmation. But silence, when intentional, holds power. Neuroscience even suggests that silence can stimulate brain growth and heighten awareness, allowing deeper processing of emotions and relationships. For the Sigma, this means his quiet moments are not an absence, but a form of presence. He is there, fully, just not in the way many are conditioned to expect. The whisper of doubt that arises when someone wonders if they are truly reaching him isn't necessarily a sign of disconnection. Instead, it is an invitation to engage with a different rhythm of intimacy, one that values depth over display. To be close to a Sigma is to learn that love doesn't always shout. Sometimes it speaks in silence, in the patience of listening, in the unspoken assurance that presence itself is proof of care. Number 3, intensity without explanation. Sigma males tend to live intensely, but not in the way most people expect. Their intensity is not loud or boastful, it is inward, woven into their thoughts, reflections, and silent observations. A single glance from a Sigma often carries layers of meaning because he is not merely looking, he is analyzing, absorbing, and connecting dots others may not even notice. A moment of stillness for him is not empty. It is filled with thought, self-awareness, and planning. This quiet intensity can feel magnetic, especially to women who sense that beneath his calm surface lies a deep reservoir of complexity. It's no wonder that many find themselves drawn to him, intrigued by what feels like an unsolvable mystery. But here's where the tension begins. That same intensity, so attractive at first, can also create a sense of distance. Women often ask themselves, can I keep up with this man's inner world, or will I be left behind? The Sigma male is not one to broadcast his every feeling or thought. He doesn't crave validation or constant reassurance, which makes him different from the typical archetypes of men. Psychologists suggest that people who score high on introspection often find themselves misunderstood because others mistake their quietness for detachment. In reality, the Sigma is not indifferent. He is simply processing at a different depth and pace. This difference can lead to a fascinating dynamic in relationships. Some women find the challenge exciting, like stepping into a world where every interaction has hidden layers. Others, however, may feel uneasy, fearing that the Sigma's inner life is too private or impenetrable. It mirrors the concept of emotional pacing in psychology, where two partners move at different speeds in how they process emotions and experiences. If the gap feels too wide, one partner may feel disconnected. Yet, for those who embrace it, being with a Sigma male can be transformative. His intensity pushes others to reflect more deeply on their own lives, to pause and to look beyond surface-level interactions. The woman who keeps up doesn't do so by chasing after his thoughts, but by respecting his silence and joining him in the depth of it. That is where connection truly happens, between the spoken and unspoken, in the quiet moments that carry more weight than 1,000 words. Number 4, perceptive to the subtle. They notice what others don't, the small shifts in mood, the quiet moments of change. This perception is beautiful, yet it can unnerve. I can't hide anything from him. That honesty is part warmth, part vulnerability. People who possess this kind of awareness seem almost tuned to a different frequency. Psychologists call it a skill rooted in both emotional intelligence and attentiveness. Unlike those who skim the surface of interactions, they dive deep, catching the unsaid words between the lines, the fleeting expressions that pass across a face, and the pauses that reveal more than sentences ever could. This is not magic. It's a refined ability to pay attention. Research shows that roughly 15–20% of people are considered highly sensitive, meaning their brains process sensory and emotional input more deeply. What feels invisible to most can be glaringly obvious to them. For example, when someone says, "I'm fine," they're not just hearing the words. They're sensing the micro-tension in the voice, noticing the way eyes avoid contact, or picking up on the subtle drop in energy. These individuals often grow into roles of trust, confidence, advisors, and friends who just get it. Their perception can feel like a mirror held up to your soul, reflecting what you might be trying to hide even from yourself. Of course, such honesty is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it makes relationships feel authentic and deeply connected. There's comfort in knowing someone truly sees you without masks or pretense. On the other, it can feel intimidating. Humans often wear little disguises to protect themselves, but with a person like this, those shields are almost useless. Some people find it overwhelming. "I can't hide anything from him," and that vulnerability can feel like exposure. Yet paradoxically, it's in that raw exposure where growth, healing, and trust are built. What makes this quality fascinating is that it doesn't just operate in relationships. It extends to leadership, creativity, and problem-solving. Great leaders, artists, and visionaries are often those who notice what slips past the crowd. They catch the ripple before it becomes a wave, the pattern before it solidifies. That keen awareness, when embraced rather than feared, becomes a powerful gift. It teaches us that perception isn't about having supernatural insight. It's about being fully present, willing to look closer, and brave enough to acknowledge truths others overlook. And in that courage lies a quiet kind of beauty, the beauty of truly seeing and being seen. Number 5, independence from social expectation. They don't follow the script. No social conformity needed. This freedom is liberating, but it raises a question. Will he ever step into ours? The fear isn't rejection, but misalignment of life rhythms. This thought captures one of the most fascinating aspects of people who move outside the norm, especially Sigma males or independent thinkers in general. Society often runs like a stage play where roles are written, cues are given, and everyone is expected to follow along with the dialogue. Schooling, careers, and even relationships tend to have a timeline that most are subtly pressured to accept. Study hard, get a stable job, marry by a certain age, and build a predictable life. Yet not everyone fits into this blueprint. Some individuals feel suffocated by this rigidity and instead choose to create their own rhythm, walking off script. This freedom to live outside the mold is not without cost, however. Research in psychology shows that human beings are deeply social creatures, wired for belonging. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, after basic survival, one of our strongest motivators is social connection. When someone refuses to conform, they inevitably create distance between themselves and the mainstream. This distance doesn't always stem from arrogance or antisocial behavior. Rather, it's often the byproduct of choosing authenticity over conformity. But herein lies the tension. If life is a dance, can two people move together if their rhythms are completely different? For example, someone who prioritizes freedom, solitude, and exploration may struggle to connect with a partner who values routine, community, and tradition. It isn't that they are incapable of love or loyalty. Instead, the friction comes from living at different tempos. One may find meaning in adventure, while the other finds comfort in stability. Sociologists even highlight this clash of values as one of the main reasons relationships strain, not incompatibility of feelings, but of life pace and priorities. So the fear is not rejection in the traditional sense. It is the realization that even if affection is present, alignment might not be. The person who dances off script might never fully step onto the stage where others perform. And that's both beautiful and unsettling. It forces us to reconsider whether harmony requires sameness or if true connection is found in embracing the dissonance. In the end, the question is not whether they will ever step into our rhythm, but whether we are brave enough to step into theirs. Number 6, quiet confidence, not boastful. Their confidence doesn't need applause. There's no need to prove. That's deeply attractive. And yet, to some, it murmurs, "Do I bring enough to the table, or will his quiet strength make me feel small?" This is the paradox of authentic self-assurance. True confidence is not loud, boastful, or desperate for validation. It is a silent force that carries weight without demanding recognition. History shows us countless figures who embodied this. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, who led one of the greatest empires while maintaining humility and introspection. His leadership didn't thrive on theatrics or flattery, but on a grounded inner strength that others couldn't ignore. In the modern world, psychologists call this type of composure secure confidence. It's rooted in self-awareness, not external praise. When someone operates from this place, it can be magnetic, drawing people in effortlessly. Humans are biologically wired to notice calm certainty because it signals competence and reliability. Studies in social psychology reveal that individuals with understated confidence are often rated as more trustworthy and capable, even when they say less. This is why in group settings, the quiet person who only speaks when necessary often commands more attention than the one constantly trying to dominate the conversation. It's not about volume, but about presence. But here's where the tension arises. While many find this quiet confidence alluring, it can also stir insecurity in others. Instead of viewing it as a source of stability, some may interpret it as a silent judgment or an invisible challenge. The thought arises, if he doesn't need me to validate him, then what do I really bring? It's not that the confident individual makes others small, rather their self-sufficiency can cast a mirror on the insecurities of those around them. This is why relationships with such individuals require a strong sense of self. Only those who are secure in their own worth can fully appreciate someone whose strength doesn't clamor for applause. Ultimately, confidence without the need to prove is not about overshadowing others, it's about mastering oneself. It speaks to a maturity that says, I am enough, whether seen or unseen. That's why it's so powerful and why it often separates leaders from followers, anchors from drifters. It doesn't diminish others. It challenges them to rise, to find that same strength within themselves. Number 7, growth-oriented over complacent. Sigma males often live with an inner compass that points towards growth rather than applause. Unlike many who measure their worth through external approval or social recognition, the Sigma mindset is anchored in self-mastery. They pursue knowledge, skills, and experiences that sharpen their independence and shape their identity. This focus on personal evolution over validation isn't born of arrogance, but of clarity. They know the fleeting nature of external opinions. Psychologists note that people who orient their lives toward intrinsic goals, such as personal development or purpose, report higher long-term satisfaction than those chasing external rewards like status or popularity. Sigmas embody this principle naturally. Women observing this energy often pick up on the forward-looking nature of a Sigma male. He's not standing still waiting for approval or permission. He's already on the move, charting his course with quiet determination. This can create a subtle tension in relationships. A woman may find herself drawn to his intensity, yet wonder if his journey has room for companionship. The question is not rooted in fear, but in thoughtful curiosity. Will their paths converge, or is he destined to walk alone? This is a practical reflection, as partnerships often demand compromise, and Sigma males are known to guard their autonomy. Interestingly, this dynamic mirrors broader human psychology. Studies in attraction highlight that people are often drawn to individuals with a sense of direction and purpose, as it signals stability and ambition. At the same time, uncertainty about alignment can spark intrigue. For Sigma males, this balance of independence and connection becomes their quiet paradox. They rarely chase, yet their very refusal to seek validation makes others want to walk alongside them, hoping their journeys might somehow intertwine. Number 8, authenticity without masks. They are unapologetically themselves, and that in itself carries an undeniable power. Integrity isn't just about honesty, it's about alignment between one's inner beliefs and outward actions. When someone lives with this kind of transparency, it strips away the masks that most people wear to navigate social approval. That rawness can be both magnetic and unsettling. On one hand, you're drawn to their authenticity, but on the other, it sparks a quiet question within. Do I measure up, or would I need to shed my own pretenses to truly belong here? This isn't just a fleeting insecurity, it's a psychological mirror. Studies in social psychology show that when people encounter authenticity, it often challenges them to re-examine their own behaviors. We instinctively compare ourselves, a trait known as where we measure our worth against others to understand where we stand. Authentic individuals push this further. They make us aware of the small compromises we've made in our own identity. This moment of self-reflection can feel like standing under a harsh light. It exposes both our strengths and the masks we've grown comfortable wearing. Yet that very discomfort is an invitation. It suggests growth, a chance to step closer to who we really are without performance or disguise. In a world saturated with curated images and carefully managed impressions, such transparency feels almost rebellious. It nudges us to pause, strip back the layers, and ask, am I living as my truest self, or just the version I think others want to see? There's nothing fraught or alarming in these gently whispered fears, only nuance, curiosity, a soft reverence. Sigma males embody a rare blend of quiet assurance, authenticity, and autonomous purpose. Women may not articulate it, but they feel it, that subtle tension between longing to connect and needing to remain independent. If you are a Sigma male listening now, consider this. These reflections are not critiques, they are invitations, opportunities to communicate warmth through your stillness, to invite connection through your quiet integrity, to weave together two independent strengths, softly, patiently. Thank you for being here, observing with your mind and your heart. In the hush, profound awareness can grow. Until next time, walk calmly, live deeply,